Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Okay. Well, I'm on the Bluetooth, and so I'm not quite sure if y'all could hear. But happy Saturday, April the 4th, 2026. If you're logging in on the original air date, the title says, oh, look at the butterfly. The title says, Masons and Eastern Stars are following. Now, this is what I'm going to educate the world on. Okay. Before you formulate an opinion, before you formulate a thought, an idea, listen, we're all guilty of doing this, but listen, I'm trying to help you. Before you try to hurry up and have a response to what I'm saying, rather than listening to truly understand, before you do that, we live in the information technological age. It's very lazy of all of us when we have so much that's free, so much at our disposal, so much that's free, so much at our disposal to be able to learn something that perhaps we didn't know anything about. Okay? Especially my generation and older. 50 years old and older, we didn't have easy access to shit. It was whatever the fuck they told us is what shit was. Okay? But now we can readily and easily just look into things. So, if you don't know anything about Freemasonry, the Order of the Eastern Star, if you don't know anything about that, Google it first, okay? Before you open your mouth and start quoting Bible and start quoting whatever you're quoting. Pause. Tap some in the search engine box of your liking and your choosing. My relatives, some of them have been initiated, whether if they're male, then they're initiated into the Freemasonry. If they're women, they've been initiated into the Order of the Eastern Stars. But these initiations, if you don't understand, most of them are secret initiations. So they're not going to be telling you at the barbecue, at the family, okay? If you yourself are not a part of it, then they are given strict orders about a lot of things. So they will not be sharing with you that that is who they are and what they do and what they practice. That's number one. Okay. Now, number two, my son, which is an adult disabled, and myself have been the target for longer than I even knew and realized, okay, of these groups. They have been following us around, exploiting relationships. So, for an example, if they have shared friends and family members, they're already activating now. But we're not going to feed them. I'm going to continue to speak. If there are shared friends and family members that are ignorant, dumb, gullible, going around quoting Bible, not realizing that there's some real sickness that's involved while they smile and talk to these people, they exploit that and they use them as minions and pawns to do their bidding to get information so that they can summon all of their group members in all these various cities and states that they're located in. So for those of you who are wondering, the reason why this is so easy to do, when some of you out there are trying to figure out who's got the time and money and resources to be sitting up there stalking and harassing somebody like myself or my son. Well, you're talking about a global organization. You're talking about global corruption. You're talking about criminal enterprises. You're talking about people who have access to knowledge and resources. You're talking about people with a very distorted view and an obsession. You're talking about folks who can easily connect with the corrupt government as well to execute such issues. Corrupt sheriffs, corrupt firemen, corrupt parks and recreation, corrupt government entities, corrupt 501cs, exploiting vulnerable situations. So guess what? People that are in these homeless shelters who don't have jobs, who don't have money, who don't have resources, that are desperate for stuff. Huh?
Well, so I didn't have the forefront of green triangle.
They reach out to them too. And they don't care. These people be, and if they homeless in the shelter, they don't care. They know that they was just presented a cool little job to, illegally surveil and follow somebody around. They trying to get that Walmart gift card. They trying to get whatever them spiffs are so they can keep that car. And so they don't care. So they will be hired to smile up in the target's face and do intel. They will be hired and cued, go outside, smoke a cigarette. Do something odd, no matter what the target does. If the target goes into an area that's different than what's standard, they'll be conjured, B2K'd, text, whatever you want to call it, to go and do weird behavior. Okay, I talk about this. Now, I've got enough data and proof. And in this situation, it happened the way this happened so that I can see someone clearly for what they were. Because sometimes we don't want to believe that certain individuals are involved. We want to believe that no matter what our differences are, that certain individuals really have our best interest at heart. No, they don't. I decided to shake it up a little bit and take me and my son out because, again, the chaos, the conflict, the swarming, the weird behavior is constant. They had a weird little limp dick, little short nigga cycle his whole ass over here a little bit ago. And I turned around opposite to him on purpose because the way it was all did, if you all would have saw the whole little thing for yourself, you would have known that he conducted that way on purpose. If you would have saw what I saw and then just said his little weird ass, if you would have saw what I saw, you would have known. And then it was just like, okay, what's your bitch ass? What's your whole ass in it? He wasn't doing nothing. He sat there so that he can get attention and reaction. I turned the opposite way. Meanwhile, there was a weird white van sitting there looking at me in his van. Okay. Yeah. So I decided, I said, no, I'm going to turn around. Turned my back. Went, whoop. So me and my son turned the other way. Attempting, okay, to continue to keep me and my son, because they know what they're doing. 80% of the world is ignorant. And when I say ignorant, I don't mean that to be condescending or disrespectful. I simply am saying they're ignorant to this world and what's going on. And they're quoting Bible, they're quoting philosophies, they're quoting all sorts of things. Since certain things are not applying to them, they don't have any context. They don't have anything. So to them, but that's what's been happening with me and my son. And there is a breach. Our safety has been breached, and it was possibly breached from the beginning. And the reason why it was breached from the beginning is because of relatives and those that I grew up with. If there was an agenda, a political agenda behind that, then that's the other disgusting things that I'm talking about here.
So much choice. You either take some time off or
That's inhumane. Thinking that they're gonna get new beginnings and all this cool shit off of the restriction of my son and me, and then having the audacity to try to make it seem like it's something that's wrong with us and that it's something that we are not fucking doing right, while they whole ass benefit. Why they stimulate their economy with fusion centers and hire these lowlives to freaking follow me and my son around and be weird and do weird shit. These spineless whores and spineless dudes.
Vacation, won't able to support 12 months after it all.
Yes. Following me and my son around, no matter the time, no matter what it is, no matter what we do, no matter how we switch up the game, and my relatives involved. The whore that I called a mother and the whore that I called sister. And the folks I grew up with who equally have some kind of jealousy and religious fanaticism as well. That is what this is. And then they do the bait and switch. It's the same shit that they've been doing with me and my son. Acting like they're gonna help. And then when you're there, it's some kind of weird bait and switch. And all of a sudden, it's all these weird shit. That's how the shit started with me and my son to begin with. There's churches that's surrounding where me and my son are that are also involved. There are people, all I've been quiet, but I've been monitoring. I've been quiet, but I've been logging, taking snapshots, pictures, dates, times, incidences, videos, cars, license plates. And I'm holding it. I'm holding it. The weird behavior. There's people that's driving around the street, the neighborhood in where we're located, and I'm catching them in some very odd and unusual behavior. Because it's when I move out of character, when I move out of what they're expecting, they don't know. They don't know. They only know once it happens. Look at them. B2 can, sure. Sickness. It's a sickness. It's a sickness these motherfuckers have. Because the whole population is B2K'd and don't know that shit. Another video. You know, when something seems to get activated for no reason, sometimes that's what it is. They don't have no fucking morals. The people who behind it, they don't have no fucking morals. They just take orders. They take orders. V2K child number 4 to start crying to trigger target number 2. V2K homeless nigga over here to go say something stupid, trigger target 1. V2K. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And because the world don't know, it sounds like gibberish to the world. It sounds like a bunch of conspiracy theories, sci-fi, something you see on the movies, you know? That's what it sounds like. Poe collective, Poe 80% of the motherfuckers. Now, when I say the Masons and these Eastern Stars are following me and my son, in most cases, they're using fusion center employees to do it. In most cases, they're using all of the various entities that they're connected to do most of what they're doing. It's rare that you're going to see a real, one of the big wigs, because you see what I'm saying? So they use their little minions, their little cult members, their corrupt, nefarious business partners, the corruption in the city politics. They use all that, connections with churches, connections with, all those things in order to do it. Security companies.
Bye.
And what is all this designed to do? I spoke with somebody about 2 weeks ago, and they said, you can now musaf. Funny how they use that language. That's not really something that Christians use. Christians, are totally, anti any of this, any form of, at least on the surface, I'm going to say, any form of new agey phrases and statements and stuff. So that's another video. But the person said, now you can musaf because you don't have to worry about, trying to figure out, on top of everything else that's happening, trying to figure out where you're going to go, where you're going to live every 5 days, every 3 days, once a voucher's up, once a program is not able to, do what they promised that they were able to do. Because now you got somewhere secure. So what am I going to say to all of that? Initially, the statement was like, well, yeah, that's one thing. That's one weight. That's one weight off of your back. That's one weight off of your back. And in most normal circumstances, as is for the others that are in the location in which we are, that's the truth for them. But it is not for my son and me. Our safety and security have been breached, and it's an inside job. Our safety, mental, spiritual, emotional, physical, energetic safety and security has been breached in a place that's supposed to be protecting their population. Has been breached. I am convinced that this was a fantasy of some of my relatives and the corruption that was a part of some of the stuff that happened with my grandmother and others in this city. This is some kind of weirdo. They thought that they was going to get me and my son here and then have some kind of a makeshift tragedy, seemingly tragedy, that happened to like my grandmother and some of the others that were targeted, to make it seem like it was some kind of a, oh, look at, oh, poor thing, oh, what a tragedy. What a tragedy. This is a victim of, this is like a sicko fantasy of her whore ass. And her minions. And her anunches. Because they got nothing but a bunch of anunch niggas. They got nothing but a bunch of anunches. I said what I said and I mean it. And nothing but a bunch of anunches. Emasculated men. That's under their control and domination and spell. And how they did it is catered to these men's broken little fragile ass egos. And if these men have any resources, position, power, title, whatever, they use them. And if they think these men could get to the target, then they use them. This is why I go ghost. My behavior that looks like I'll talk and I'll stop talking is due to the fact that I unfortunately come into the knowledge and the realization that the people that I'm trying to connect to are being used, whether they are fully aware of it or not. And trying to talk to them about that has always proven to be kind of futile and a waste of time. They start talking in gibberish, catchphrases, and Bible scripture, but have no knowledge about what the hell is actually going on. People have insecurities. People have a whole lot of shit that they're not fucking dealing with. And then when they see someone like me or my son, they don't know, they're not consciously aware of it. They're triggered, they're activated. These folks, the corruption in this city, that has been a part of the corruption that has been following my son and me around and other folks like us, from state to state and from place to place, and connecting with the corruption because they have connections in all these places. That is why they are able to do this. No one person can do it, but it's not one person. They say that to ignorant people who ain't knowledgeable about what the hell is going on. They make statements like, I'm one person. I don't have time for that. How could I be doing all of this? How can I be doing all of that? I can't do all of this, because you don't know they have a whole secret life. You don't know that they've been initiated into a cult. You don't know who they are and what they really are. You know the mask that they're wearing for you on Sunday. You know their performance. You know their ass kissing. You know their flattery. You don't know them. And ignorance is not bliss. Ignorance is killing people. I've made up my mind. I refuse to allow anyone's ignorance to be the death of my son and me. I refuse to allow anyone's willful blindness, dumbness, mental illness. I refuse. Anybody's personal hang-ups, their personal bents, their personal issues, I refuse. And I refuse to spend hours and days talking to a script, somebody who was on a script, somebody who is an NPC on a script, and they cannot veer off of their script. Trying to convince them things that their script and their programming and the spells that are on them and the people they're fucking and all of the intertanglement that has fucked up their ability to have consciousness expansion beyond this bullshit. I refuse. I stop talking. I go ghost with people when I realize that they've been disrespectful. That's another thing that I'll do. When I get a moment to catch that they really have an issue with me and that they're condescending or certain things like that, I don't have shit else to say. There's nothing else to talk about. Because I shouldn't have to school old dusty niggas and bitches about proper respect. I should not have to school old dusty motherfuckers who claim to be leaders. They're older than me. They think they know everything. And then I have to talk to them about properly respecting somebody else's beliefs, somebody else's decisions. Now, I have to go now because I'm done. Because where I go gets quickly contaminated. I'm somebody who loves the park. I'm somebody who loves nature. So this has been an onslaught, an intentional attempt to stop me from being able to self-regulate and self-soothe. So these folks are attempting to murder my son and me. These folks are trying to cause sickness to my son, sickness to me, so that they can get whatever weirdy shit is wrong with them. These are eternal 3-year-olds with God complexes, swole egos, designer bags, briefcases, and fancy cars. They are entitled to my energy. For someone that they feel superior to, they certainly need to be around me. I am requiring death. And when I say death, I'm talking about the frequency and the energy of death to everybody benefiting off of this bullshit. So they're getting paid to do it. They're going to lose something else. They're going to suffer death. I don't have time for trying to convince the world of getting some kind of conscious and all that shit. That's not my job. Sorry motherfuckers is going to get the sorry motherfucker full-on benefit, whether they think they're a sorry motherfucker or not. And they can go to church and praise God and get a cross and Bible until the end of time and end of days as we know it. And they still. Because this is sick. It's a sickness that is unchecked. It's a sick. And I'm going to make sure that they're dealt with. As me and my son escape yet another trap that they continue to try to plot with these Masons and Eastern Stars, these fusion centers, and my relatives, folks I grew up with. Yes, me trying to mind my own business with my son, getting us out the land of the psychotic, the burning bush and shit, the burning, the burning bed and shit, the psychotic ward. And my son being, sensitive, and me being sensitive, and me knowing about energy, and us trying to, remedy our energy, and the world being stupid and ignorant about it, then it looks like we're the problem. It looks like, they even do shit to folks like my son to make them, be a certain way so that folks can look at them as a problem while they benefit. That's why I'm going to have, my tad ass. I'm going to tad that ass up. And I'm going to do it legally. I'm going to tad that ass. And I'm going to do it energetically. I'm going to tad that ass up. We are not, me and my son, we're sovereign beings. We're not here to serve the trash. We're not here to supply energy to lowlives. And then talking about bless the Lord. Retarded ass. They're doing ritual abuse on my son and me in the location and around the location. That's why all these manifestations started happening to me and my son upon this location. These motherfuckers better lawyer up.